Hello, friends. Arlene Smith, Healing the Hearts of Healthcare. Welcome back. I am so glad that you're here because it's a testament that you are ready to heal your heart. And so that you continue to do what you do best, which is being that extraordinary healthcare worker who is committed to providing compassionate care. Now, I know firsthand that the work that you do every single day is full of many different challenges, and that you often are left at the end of the day feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausted. And that is okay because you are here and you are ready to explore new ways to get inspired and connect your passion to purpose, which is healing others. And I feel like I need to start this podcast off with expressions of gratitude because I feel like it's an honor for me to have this gift of your precious time today. To be able to offer you words of encouragement and inspiration, it fills my heart with love and gives me this profound sense of deep gratitude because every single one of you are incredibly talented and you are unbelievably valuable to every single person who is walking on this earth. Now think about it. What would happen to our world if the caregivers cared no more? And there are days in my quiet reflection where I feel like I'm doing it and I'm working hard to heal my heart from all the experiences that I faced during the pandemic. And there are other days when you can't help but think, the day-to-day stressors of me being responsible for another person's well-being, that can easily leave you wondering, is it really worth it? Yes, of course it is, because the silver lining of serving during the pandemic is this realization that you survived all of the craziness. And you know what? You're not going to just survive, you're going to thrive again. Do you know why? Well, sadly, you're not alone in this journey. And when I speak to my friends around the country who are serving just like you, sitting there, doubting themselves and quietly entertaining these secret thoughts in their heads of, do I need to throw in the towel? I mean, they're conflicted because on one hand, they know in their heart and in their minds that they were called to the field. They were called to heal others. But how do you heal others when you are mentally, emotionally, and physically exhausted? You want to know a little secret? It doesn't have to be this complicated. Do you know what you have that others don't? Me. I'm here to offer you hope that it can and it will be better. And hopefully I'm going to give you a big dose of inspiration that's going to leave you today thinking about your challenges differently. And my hope is that you will leave today's podcast with a renewed spirit, and that renewed spirit is what's going to help you to hold on tight and to fight. And if you haven't figured it out, you are in a battle, but you were designed to care for other people. And with that responsibility is also a duty that you need to take care of yourself, and that includes healing your heart. Now, you might not have known this, but at the start of the pandemic, and according to the American Psychological Association, 70% of people in the U.S. were reporting that work was adding to their levels of stress. I mean, that's not a shocker. Their report on stress in America that was released during the pandemic stated that all the negative mental health effects on the coronavirus and this recognition that the virus was going to be serious, they predicted that it would be long-lasting. And here we are nearly 4 years later, and we're still working under challenging conditions. And I have to tell you this because some of you today are having increased levels of stress and anxiety and even a little PTSD of what you've seen, mostly because you were forced to experience pain and suffering firsthand. And I know because at the beginning, when the pandemic hit, in my community where I was serving, we had our PPE and we were all so willing and so proud to serve. But quickly the reality set in that taking care of the most vulnerable of populations was so incredibly challenging. And it was mentally and physically challenging. And I was like you, jumping on social media, trying to understand, how do I provide care as a professional nurse? And sometimes in my dark reflections, I think about what it was like for those inexperienced nurses who just entered the workforce at the time of the pandemic. What a steep learning curve that they all have. But every single one of us even you, are carrying these gigantic boulders of responsibility that are resting on our shoulders. And I mean, let's just take coronavirus out of the equation. As a caregiver, every single day you can't predict how your day is going to go. And for some people, that's incredibly exhilarating. And for others, it's incredibly terrifying. I've spoken to so many healthcare workers since the start of the pandemic. And even when your entire way of working was turned upside down overnight, you didn't run away. You stayed, even though you secretly thought, I'm terrified inside. And while others lacked the courage to care and left the field, well, you did not. You were doing it then, and you're still doing it. And over the past 4 years, we've seen so many changes in our world. And not surprising that the virus has still not gone away. And sometimes it's hard to see the forest for the trees, but I'm here to remind you that beautiful things are happening around you every single day. And isn't it funny how our mind works sometimes, that no matter what you are doing, this amazing, extraordinary, soul-filling, purposeful work, sometimes as caregivers, we tend to focus on all the negative things that go wrong. And some scientists, I guess I should say, have hypothesized that our negative mindsets come from those early caveman days when we were constantly worried about where our next meal would come, and the fact that we were always in danger when we were foraging for food. So this behavior of anticipating danger, it's not new to us as human beings. I mean, think about it. It's probably what makes you an outstanding healthcare worker. It's your ability to look at all of the things that could possibly go wrong, and you're still going through it. But that can also be a curse, because instead of soaking in the beautiful things that are happening around you, when you are healing people every single day, you are facing the fact that you are still seeing terrible sickness and you are having troubles getting people back to optimal health. It's why we have to be careful. We cannot fill our minds with negative thoughts because it has a toll on our spirit. It just weighs us down, and we wind up carrying those negative thoughts around with us, and it influences not only the way we see others in the world around us, but it impacts the way care is delivered. And truth be told, if those negative feelings fester, we can see a spillover effect, and every single person that comes in our path, well, God help them. But here is the good news. We can learn to shift our mindset, and we can look towards the positive of the things that are happening around us. So let's test out this theory. If I were sitting next to you, I'd ask you to name one thing that's happening right now that is positive, something that makes you feel good inside. And maybe it's that one patient who shared with you how you made them feel when you were providing that care. Or maybe it was that one family member who recognized you and wanted you to receive all the praise and recognition because of your actions. Or maybe it was just your drive into work. You stopped by Starbucks and you got your favorite cup of coffee. Or maybe you heard your favorite song on the radio. When you really think about it, most of us all need to be reminded that there are good things happening around us at all times. And even when our working conditions are not optimal, because maybe we're dealing with call-offs or angry and frustrated family members or patients, we can still find the good things. And what I want you to start doing every day as a daily practice is to start searching for those good things. They are the food that your soul needs. And I promise you, if you fill your mind up with these really good experiences instead of everything that's going wrong, you're going to feel better about the work that you do. And hopefully this new daily practice is going to motivate you. It's going to inspire you. It's going to empower you to want to be the best version of you. And very quickly, you will be excited and optimistic again about your future. And you have to channel optimism. You're a healer, which means you're doing extraordinary work and that other people can't possibly do what you do. And in my own healing journey, I recognize that I need those constant reminders to look for those beautiful moments that are happening in the backdrop. And I need to constantly remember to slow down my pace so that I can experience those moments in real time instead of rushing from person to person. And we all need these reminders because I found that sometimes as human beings, we want to believe that no one else can possibly understand the burden and the struggle that we are carrying with us every single day. It's true. Think about the pandemic and how you secretly felt when other people were being paid to stay home and you were putting your life on the line. It was terribly frightening for you. I know in my community, one of the agency nurses that I worked with every single day passed away when he contracted COVID, and it affected every single one of us in a profound way. Listen, even influencers on social media who never have to worry about getting even their basic needs met and that are posting pictures in these beautiful outfits in these beautiful locations around different continents around the world, they are not immune from pain and suffering. And newsflash, every single person experiences pain, burden, and struggle. Some people are just really good at disguising it. And last time I checked, there was no pill that you could take that would take away your pain and suffering. But don't forget, you're different because you're a skilled healthcare worker who's accepted the responsibility and the duty to provide care to perfect strangers. And you do it without the fanfare or having your picture plastered all over the internet. And I've thought long and hard about the pain and suffering that I experienced over my entire career in healthcare. And I think of all those times where there were situations that were completely outside my control. And maybe where I lost a patient and my mind was sort of haunted by this idea of how can I replay this scenario so that happens differently and prevent that loss. Listen, it forced me to examine my entire belief system. I mean, what if everything that happens to us in this world is part of a bigger plan? What if these experiences are just lessons that we are all meant to learn while we are here in life school? Well, honestly, I want to believe that we experience struggle to prove to ourselves that we can get through anything. And when we do, and you will, you're going to be the best version of yourself because you did it. And you didn't give up. You came through on the other side, and that is something to celebrate when so many people are giving up. You were the person that didn't. A fun little fact, did you know that diamonds are one of the most precious stones in the world? And they truly are a girl's best friend. I mean, I think of Madonna. She knew that. But did you know that diamonds are only formed from the extreme conditions that they have to withstand? Without that constant extreme pressure, we would never have something that's so beautiful and precious. You, my friends, you are the diamonds. Your great work happens when you are pushed beyond your limits. So I'm here to shake you up a bit and to let you know that your best work is still in front of you, because in the end, when all of this is over, you will have an incredible story to share, and one that you can look back on and feel tremendously proud of. You weren't just taking Zoom calls in your comfy clothes. You were caring for people during the middle of a pandemic, a worldwide pandemic. And because you chose this work, you are going to reap the rewards in life school. And if you look hard enough, you will see that this is pretty cool. You did it. And I don't need to tell you this, but I feel like I'm compelled to remind some of you, you cannot forget that just like your body needs self-care and rest, so does your mind. The way your mind gets rest is through quiet, still reflection. So for me, I do this as a daily habit. I start and end my day in meditation and prayer. I have noticed that quiet reflection helps me to understand what is happening around me. And if I build in these periods where I allow my mind to rest, that I notice things differently. So give it a try. Practice self-care of your mind and your body, even if it's just 15 minutes a day. I promise you, you will notice a difference. And if you were like me during the height of the pandemic, there were so many days where I felt overwhelmed, not just with it wearing the N95 mask and feeling extremely claustrophobic for 16 hours at a time. I literally would escape to my car in between shifts. I would close my eyes just for 5 minutes to listen to music to refresh my soul. And every single one of you as healthcare workers must prioritize self-care. It has to be built in your daily routine. You must refuel your tank. Think about it. What good is a healer who needs to be healed themselves? Heal thyself must be something you commit to as a practice every day. So maybe you take a short walk when you're feeling stressed, or you just sit outside, or you listen to the birds chirping. Or maybe after everything is done in the day, you just decide, you know what, I'm going to enjoy a warm bubble bath for 15 minutes or a podcast. Listen, you're not going to be able to care for others if you don't care for yourself first. And I've done a lot of research and reading online during the height of the pandemic. I feel like, especially in the field of healthcare, there were just so many articles talking about the need for resiliency. And I felt like screaming, really, people? Do you know what we're dealing with? But here's the thing. Resiliency is a leadership competency that every single person in healthcare has to develop. And I mean everyone. And back in 2007, resiliency despite adversity was a core leadership competency that was part of my development plan. I mean, being truly vulnerable here, I had that competency on my development plan for 3 years. It took me 3 years to develop that competency consistently in every situation. I can even hear the soft whisper of my dear mentor, Nancy, who used to say to me, now, Arlene, you're going to need to develop this competency if you're going to ascend in leadership. And she was 1,000% right. As healthcare workers, we all have to develop this competency if we're going to stay the course. So what is resiliency despite adversity? Well, in a nutshell, it's your ability to come to work every day, fully engaged, ready to take on that next challenge while treating each day like it's a brand new day. That means you're able to shake the dust off your feet from the previous day. You're coming into work. You're not having feelings of dread. Now, listen, it took me 3 years to develop this competency. I attended courses. I went to workshops. I watched videos. I read journal articles. I did everything. But you know what worked for me in the end? Something that was specific for me. I figured out on my drive to work, no matter what was happening to me in my morning, even when I was getting my small children off to school and my nerves were really frazzled and my spirit was low, that music spoke to me. And when I listened to music in the car, and when I wasn't afraid to belt out a tune really loud at the top of my voice, it energized me. It put me in a different frame of mind. Now, right now, your frame of mind might be particularly low. So you're going to need to do something every single day to shift your mindset and bring that flow of energy back into your soul. BTW, if you didn't listen to the podcast that I co-hosted with Lori Smith, who is the founder of the 28-Day Flow Challenge, then put that one on your list. It's episode 3. It's a game changer because once you discover the secret to shifting your energy within your body, you will never go back. Whether you jam out to rap or it's country music or you're just spending 15 minutes watching YouTube videos of baby goats in pajamas. By the way, they are hilarious videos. And if you're feeling terribly low and you know you need something like a really good laugh, I mean, the tears rolling down from your face, my personal favorite are any videos on YouTube's that are titled Japanese pranks. I mean, seriously, these videos make me cry every single time I watch them, and I can't believe they are totally legal and put on TV for everybody to see in Japan. And the point is sometimes when you're at your lowest, laughter really is the best medicine. And doing anything that will switch your mind from sadness and dread to something that fills your soul with energy and your spirit and your mind with joy and happiness, well, that's a practice every single one of us must do. Now, don't forget the power of hope as healthcare workers, because when I think of all the times in my nursing career when I saw people who were never expected to survive or pull through, I know I'm not alone. I know you saw those too. The power of hope is tremendous. And one of my greatest learnings that prepared me for leadership really came from my experience in bedside nursing. I spent 2 years working as an oncology nurse, and I absolutely loved those experiences of caring for people that had cancer. And I remember those first few weeks on the job speaking to an oncologist and asking him, what advice would you give that new nurse who's new to oncology? And I remember him saying it like it was yesterday. I don't care what happens to you during your shift, your job every day is to bring people hope. That's it. It's very simple because they might not believe it themselves or they might not be getting it from their loved ones. And he said, I just can't explain it, but when patients have hope, it drives better outcomes for them. And when they believe in something, because you were the person that transferred hope to their spirit, it has tremendous power. And he was 100% right. So I'm here today passing that hope torch on to you. Listen, I know times are incredibly challenging for you, both personally and professionally, but I want to remind you that you were designed for this. You can absolutely do this. You have to cling to the hope that you do have the strength and the grit and the tenacity to stay in this fight. Why? Well, hell, the simple answer is your patients and family members need you, and so do your peers. And remember, your peers that are working alongside of you, they're probably experiencing the same feelings you are. But it can be different. When you are hopeful, they will also be hopeful because hope is contagious. And you might not be able to fix a lot of things, but seeking out moments of joy instead of remaining in sadness, that is something we can all do. Joy is one of healthcare's greatest assets. It comes from you making a conscious choice every single day to start off the day to seek it and to bring it into your workplace. Have you ever noticed that we can take on so many life lessons from what happens around us if we just look outside in nature? Like, I'm always amazed in nature, especially something like a wildfire. It can completely devastate a forest, but it doesn't take long for that new growth to start to sprout. The devastation doesn't last for years and years. The new growth comes quickly. The seedlings sprout and all the wildlife return to the area. It is no different with people that go through hardship. And the beauty of it is that our minds are incredibly powerful and we have the ability to shift our thinking and change our perspective rather quickly. That is how we were designed. And I want to remind you that even though you survived some of the most unprecedented times in your career, dealing with some of the most complex issues that you have ever faced in your life, and you've felt feelings of hopelessness, you are going to come out of this stronger and better as a caregiver. So have confidence. Even if you're not feeling it right now, things are going to get better when you shift your thinking and you look at things and those future possibilities and you treat your body very kindly right now. You are a born healer. It's time to heal yourself. That starts with renewing your own spirit. You can do this. And I certainly can't wait to hear all about it. So don't forget, if you don't hear it enough, I just want to say thank you for all you do in the care of people. I recognize, and so does the world, they recognize that this is a conscious choice that you make every day. You make a choice to show up, you make a choice to be there and care for perfect strangers. And in my world, there's no more admirable work than that. So thank you for everything you do and take care of yourself. And I look forward to speaking to you on a future podcast. Goodbye, everyone. And if you crave more, consider signing up for an exclusive membership, which will offer you this incredible opportunity to participate in a weekly Zoom call, where I will personally answer your most challenging questions, and I will offer you real solutions on ways that you can heal your heart from the pain and suffering you experienced as a healthcare worker. Sign up on the link below and use the code ArleneFriend at checkout to get 20% off.